everyone, Scott, the Scottman. We're here to do a drive video today. We are heading north on Interstate 69 here in northeast Indiana. We're heading north from US 35 north near Gas City, Indiana. We're going to head all the way over to I-469, or the southern junction of it, just to the south of Fort Wayne. So yeah, this is the last stretch of I-69 north. I need to film all the original I-69 going from Indianapolis all the way up to the Indiana-Michigan border. As a matter of fact, just around a year ago today, I filmed the stretch further to the south, coming up from like Anderson, Indiana, going to where we just started today. And like once again, there's snow on the ground here like there was with that video. However, the visibility is a lot better today. It's not snowing or anything like that. It's just mostly cloudy with the sun popping out. So much better driving conditions today. But yeah, it's not too bad out though for a January day. My current thermometer is reading 33 degrees Fahrenheit. Convert that to Celsius, it's around 1 degrees. Driving back from Houston, Texas. I was down there for about a good couple weeks, I would say. I had a really nice time down there. I talked a little bit more about that in my previous driving video where I was on Interstate 40 east of Little Rock. So I'm not going to really talk about the trip a whole lot in this video, just because I already talked about it. If you're watching these videos especially the driving videos in sequential order, it's like I don't want to just repeat stuff again or anything, but and if you haven't watched that videos, no worries, because I'll be uploading a bunch of YouTube videos from the trip, and there's also a lot of Instagram content I'm posting right now from that trip. So it's like another little reminder that of course my main platform is YouTube, where I've been filming videos for every one of you for quite a while now, and no plans of stopping. But I also have an Instagram page where I post short form content, which are basically short videos or reels, which they tend to be like a minute or less. I say like mine average between like 9 and 10 seconds to like maybe 30 seconds. Although I do need to start posting photos on there again too. But yeah, so currently on my way home, and this is the last driving video I am filming for this trip. So for where I am right now, I got like another 3 to 3.5 hours or so left until I get back to the Detroit area. So what I'll probably end up doing is after I finish this video, I'm going to be taking 469 up to 24. And then taking 24 across over to Toledo, and then I can head up to the Metro Detroit area from there. So yeah, right now we are near Marion, Indiana. What's interesting is that yeah, we have Marion, Indiana nearby, yet Marion County, Indiana is where Indianapolis is. So that is really interesting how you have a Marion County in Indiana. That's, again, where Indianapolis is, yet the city of Marion in Indiana is over here. Which I would say is probably, I don't know, like a good 40 miles or so away from, actually it might be more than that, maybe like a good 70 miles from Indianapolis. I even noticed that when I was driving through Illinois too. It's like, because that's the way I was coming up, and there is a Marion, Illinois, and there's a Marion County, Illinois, and they're not next to each other or within the same area. It's like, it's always interesting when you have different towns or cities, and then you you have a county of the same name, which they're completely separate from each other and apart from each other. Like Michigan has an example like that too. Like there's a town called Oscoda along US 23 over on the shores of Lake Huron. Yet to the northwest of Oscoda, Michigan, there's Oscoda County, which is where Mayo is, and that's more inland and further to the northwest. It's like I never really understood why they do stuff like that. It's like all I can say is that because a lot of times, yeah, usually towns or counties are named after people, whether they're founders or politicians or any type of notable people who have contributed to that area. So they probably figured it was another place to have the name be used or something. Just like, of course, a great example like George Washington, where, of course, George Washington was the first president of the United States. And, of course, the national capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., is named after George Washington. But completely on the other side of the country, you have Washington State, also named after George Washington, but it's on the other side of the continent and over by the Pacific Ocean. So there are scenarios like that too, so I guess it shouldn't be too strange behind that, but it's just interesting how you have stuff like that. I'm sure there are probably many, many, many examples out there, but those are the ones I can think of right off the bat. But yeah, even though I mentioned this in my Interstate 40 video I just filmed yesterday, but it was uploaded probably about a week ago. It's like, yeah, a winter storm came through pretty much the entire country this past Thursday going into Friday, and it brought widespread snow. It went as far south as northern Texas. Because on my route back, I saw snow on the ground as far south as like areas northeast of Texarkana, Texas, and Arkansas. So yeah, there's been constant snow on the ground all the way down to southwest Arkansas, which was kind of interesting to see. Although I think northern Texas got a lot of freezing rain too, so that's kind of why I didn't really see snow on the ground in northeast Texas. And yeah, the storm went through while I was out of Houston, and Houston just got a cold rain. And then even up where I live in the Detroit, Michigan area, it got a little snowy up there too. Nothing like what a lot of the United States got, but still enough to where I think they had to, I'd still say, get out the snow plows. Thankful though that the weather for the return trip has been really good. It's like I haven't run into any rain or snow on this entire drive so far. Going down the other hand, I ran into a lot of rain in Little Rock, or to the east of Little Rock, approaching Little Rock. Does look like the snow amounts here are a little bit less than what they were back down in Indianapolis. Because I can see some grass trying to peep out in the median. Little Black Creek. So yeah, but right now as we speak, I'm starting to try to plan out some trips I want to do for the year. It's like I'm not going to really mention about anything yet, just because some I'm still contemplating on, and others big trip I'm doing later in the year. Oh, now we're entering Huntington County. One big trip I'm planning is going to be in October, but I don't want to say anything just yet because it's 9 months from now. I don't really want to really announce anything like that just yet. I'm going to wait till things get closer for that one. So yeah, so this mystery trip I'm talking about right now, that's the only official thing I'm planning. I might be doing like maybe I think 3 or 4 weekends from now. I might do like a quick weekend trip somewhere, but I'm not gonna say anything just yet, just because it's not 100% written in stone. Although by the time this video goes up, if I go, it would have already happened. It's like when it comes to planning the weekend trip, it's basically when Super Bowl weekend's taking place, and of course the big thing is that normally it's like, oh well, I have no problem traveling around the Super Bowl, but the thing is, the Detroit Lions have a very good chance of being in the Super Bowl for the very first time ever. Like the Lions have won national championships before, but that was well before the Super Bowl era started in the late 60s. It's like, yeah, it's like the Lions have never made it to the Super Bowl. In fact, there are memes out there regarding that, to where it's like if you've ever seen the movie, the classic Disney film, The Lion King, not the original '90s cartoon, not the live action remake that they did, I think just a couple years or so ago. There was a meme basically where it's Mufasa and Simba looking out at the kingdom which Mufasa rules over, where in the movie it's basically where Mufasa tells Simba everything the light touches is our kingdom. And then there's a meme basically where it says, that is the Super Bowl, or something like that. No lion has ever gone there, something like that. So it'd be so nice to see the Lions make this or get to the Super Bowl, so that way we can get rid of that meme finally. It's good. At least it's good though that we at least got rid of the whole same old Lions meme, which that was basically a thing until just this past year or so, where the Lions looked like they were going to do well, but then all of a sudden the Lions of the past couple decades or so would come back and find a way to lose or miss the playoffs. And I'm having a cough just because of that. But now, of course, they're finally playing well. They're, in fact, going into the playoffs right now. The playoffs have started this weekend. The Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs have the best records in the NFL right now. And since both of those two teams are in separate conferences, they both have first-round byes. I guess they're the number 1 seed. It's the Salamone River. I think that's how you pronounce that. So, like, this is like the wild card weekend for the playoffs, and the Detroit Lions are off this weekend because they got the first-round bye. Which is a good thing, because there are a lot of players that are hurt right now, and there are some players that will be able to rest up and be healthy, or potentially healthy, by next weekend when the Lions will be playing. Find out whether it either be the Packers, the Rams, the Vikings, or the Washington Commanders. Which the Washington Commanders, they used to be the Washington Redskins, but they had their name changed in the past few years. There are rumors out there that they might go back to being the Redskins again, but it's hard to say. For the foreseeable future, I see them being the Commanders, but that's a whole nother story. Because I just know there was a lot of controversy controversy over the previous name for the football team for Washington. But anyway, so with the playoffs, so the Lions have a good chance of getting to the Super Bowl. Go ahead and get back over now. So the thing is, so for the weekend trip I want to do, I'd be flying back on Super Bowl Sunday. If the Lions were to lose and not make the Super Bowl, then there'd be no dilemma. But the Lions do make the Super Bowl, which of course I would love to see that. There's a possibility I'd be flying home during the Super Bowl. The good news at least is that with Delta Airlines, for domestic flights, they do give you the opportunity of watching live TV. So, because I know they get either Fox, CBS, or NBC. Those are like the three major networks which tend to show the Super Bowl. So I'd be able to watch the game on the plane. So that would be a plus. But I'll tell you this, yeah, if Lions make the Super Bowl, it's like if you're in the Detroit area, you're gonna see all kinds of Detroit Lions memorabilia and posters everywhere. There's probably a lot of that already. Oh, that looks like a truck hauling. Looks like one of those wind turbines. Probably trying to install one somewhere. Either here in Indiana, in Ohio, or maybe up in Michigan. But I look at it this way, it's like I love watching sports, but travel is my biggest passion. So I have to look at it this way. If I had a choice between travel and miss some of the Super Bowl or not travel and watch the entire Super Bowl, I'll pick travel in a heartbeat. So when it comes to the whole dilemma, it's like I see me ending up doing the trip no matter what. Because again, as I was saying, travel is my biggest passion, and I can't let the Super Bowl take that away from me, even if the Detroit Lions get to the Super Bowl. But yeah, it should be interesting though. Although to be honest with you, when it comes to watching sports on TV, I don't watch things closely. It's like, sure, I'll watch the Detroit Lions, but and then even like college football, I'll watch like Michigan Wolverines football, for example. But it's like, yeah, when it comes to other stuff, it's like I don't really watch sports on TV a whole lot. I'll have it on when I'm doing other stuff, but I'm not one who sits down and watches a game, like a game or a bunch of games the entire day. Like baseball, for example, it's like I usually don't watch Major League Baseball on TV. It's one thing maybe have it on in the background, but it's like I'm not one who would just sit down and watch a baseball game on TV. Going to a game, on the other hand, that's a completely different experience. Like, you have to go to a baseball game. Because like in the past few years, I've been to a baseball game at Wrigley Field to watch the Cubs play. I've been to Fenway Park to watch the Red Sox play. And then I've also been to Comerica Park in Detroit to watch the Detroit Tigers play. It's like, just being at a baseball game, like at an actual game, is so much fun. Watching on TV, on the other hand, it's like if I was doing other things, that's one thing, but it's like if I were to go to someone's house and all we were doing was watching the baseball game on TV, I would probably fall asleep. And then kind of the same case with like basketball, well, NBA and NHL. Oh, excuse me. And then also, college basketball too, I'll have some games on. Usually not to watch, but just to have on in the background, especially when it comes down to March Madness. I'm still ecstatic that in the last year's March Madness that Oakland University, which is out of Rochester, Michigan, in the Metro Detroit area, that's the university I went to. They made it to the second round of March Madness last year. They upset Kentucky in the opening round, which is amazing. That cough back there made me remind myself to drink some water. Oh, and here's the Wabash River, which is the, I would say it's like the, I like to say it's probably the national, not national, but it's like the state river of Indiana. It's like if you were to represent a river for a state with Indiana, for this case of Indiana, the Wabash would be that symbol. Where I'd say like with Michigan, it'd be the Grand River. Texas, I don't know, because there are so many prominent rivers in the state of Texas. Plus, Texas is huge. Because in Texas, you have the Rio Grande River at the southern end of Texas on the border with Mexico. Then you have the Colorado River, which goes up through Austin. You have the Guadalupe River, which goes to the Gulf of Mexico and goes through like New Braunfels, Texas. You have the Sabine River in the eastern end of the state. You also have the Red River that goes up toward the Texas-Oklahoma border. You have the Trinity River, which goes through Dallas. And then you also have Buffalo Bayou, although it's kind of like the river for Houston, although it's considered to be a bayou, not a river. But it's pretty similar. But yeah, it's like, so it's hard to say when it comes to the rivers. Anyway, so with watching sports, yeah, it's like I don't follow things too closely. So like for example, it's like if you were to ask me who my favorite baseball player is for each team, I would not be able to answer that one because of like, I don't even know who half the players are on the Detroit Tigers team. Heck, there's even some players on the Detroit Lions football team I don't even know. I know like all the prominent players though, but yeah, it's like the thing is, it's like yeah. It's like I follow like the team records and of course keep an eye on how good each teams are doing, but it's like yeah, when it comes to, let's just say like knowing all the players, like not only for this year, all the past years, yeah, definitely am not very good at that. I only know like maybe like the key players, like with basketball, going back to the days of Michael Jordan during the 90s, Scottie Pippen, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Dennis Rodman, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, like all the big players from the 90s, or even going to the 2000s too. Like of course there's like Karl Malone, there's Kevin Garnett, there's Shaquille O'Neal, and of course we cannot forget about the late Kobe Bryant, who passed away way too young. Yeah, I can't believe it's been almost 5 years since he passed away. But yeah, it's like, so anyway, so it's like I enjoy sports, but at the same time I'm not an encyclopedia or anything like that. Although I think one of my longtime followers though is practically like a sports encyclopedia, which is really cool though. It's like I think having a very vast knowledge on sports, I think it's remarkable. Let's just say it's like, yeah, it's like a follower I'm referring to, and I were to be in a trivia match against the person, and sports was a category, I'd be in big trouble. Oh well, but it's like we all have our own interests, and of course travel is my big interest, my big passion. Yeah, as I'm getting closer and closer up toward Michigan, even though I'm going to be going diagonal over to Ohio first, it's like it's getting more and more cloudy. That's kind of the depressing thing about Michigan in the winter a lot of times. It does not get sunny that often. So it's like I don't know when I'm going to be seeing the sun coming up in the state of Michigan, because it's going to be very cloudy. Heck, there might be some snow showers later today back up in Michigan. So according to my map, I got another few more miles to go till we get to where we'll be concluding this video. And yeah, at some point I do need to check out Interstate 69 going south of Indianapolis. Because yeah, they extended I-69 in Indiana all the way down to Evansville. And just in November, or somewhere around November 2024, they completed the final piece to the southern part of 69 to the south of Indianapolis. So now like there's a southern interchange with the 465 loop. That's pretty cool. They have a Cops and Donuts billboard even down here in Indiana. That's a very popular donut shop located in Clare, Michigan, which Clare is about maybe an hour and a half or so to the north of Lansing. If you go north on US 127 going north of Lansing, like north of I-69. But it's no different than when I've heard people say that they've seen signs, I think either in Tennessee or northern Georgia, that they've seen signs for Frank.
In 2 miles, take exit 296A for US 24 East, US 33 South.
Where basically they've seen signs that far south for Frankenmuth. Yeah, and unfortunately, I'll be competing with the GPS for the rest of this video. So I'll probably get ready to conclude things in the next minute or so. But yeah, so I need to see some more things in southern Indiana, so I could maybe potentially film some videos on Interstate 69 down there, because it's pretty new. Alright, so another mile to go will be to I-469 East, the southern junction of it. Alright, because my GPS is going to be interfering coming up, I'm going to get ready to start concluding things here. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video here on I-69 North, going from US 35 North near Gas City, Indiana, all the way to the southern junction of I-465 south of Fort Wayne.
In a half mile, take exit 296A for US 24 East, US 33 South.
So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so that we don't miss out on any future adventures. Well, thanks for watching, and this is Scott, the Scottman895 here from Northeast Indiana near Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Take exit 296A, then merge onto I-469 East.